Good afternoon. This is going to be a bit different today because what are we going to do?
Q&As.
We're going to do a bit of Q&A. So this is Tips on Tuesday, but we're just going to answer some questions from a friend of mine, and I think that everybody would be interested in these particular questions, so we'll just get right down to business.
Tips on Tuesday with a twist.
In order to have days like this, you're going to have days like this. This is Tips on Tuesday. We're going to talk about what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Stay tuned so you don't feel like doing this. If you like these videos, please subscribe and give us a like. And if you have anything to add to the conversation or any questions, please leave them below. All right. Question number 1.
What are the months of the season? In parentheses. It seems like most of your adventures happen during our winter and spring.
Well, the answer to that is it depends on the area which you are in at the time. You know, if we're in the Caribbean, it's from just about the middle of November to June 1st. And your insurance company is going to tell you what you can do and what you can't do.
For somebody new, like we were 5 years ago, it's actually handy notes because they even give you the coordinates at the up to what the latitude and longitude you can be. I think the horizontal ones are latitudes. They give you a brackets where you're not supposed to be, so that's very handy.
Yeah, and your insurance company actually will help you out because you don't want to be in those zones during hurricane season. So it's up to your insurance company where you are, and it's up to what you want. We want to be in an area which, 1, has good weather, and 2, is not going to have a hurricane or really bad weather. So we pick and choose where we're going to be, and it also depends on what the weather is like getting to that place. Like there's certain times you cross the Atlantic, there's certain times you cross the Pacific, there are certain times where you cross the Indian Ocean, and we follow, most of the other sailors of the past in deciding where to go and when to go.
Yes, usually there are times, like it's no fun to be in Thailand during the monsoon season.
True, and we were there because of COVID.
Yeah.
So we got stuck in Thailand over COVID, and though we really like Thailand, we did not like it during the monsoon season. So, let's go to question number 2.
Yes, Captain. Once you complete the circumnavigation, then what?
Well, who knows? We don't have that much farther to go. All we have to do is go through the Med and then cross the Atlantic, and we're basically done with our circumnavigation. We've thrown around a couple ideas, but we're not sure. We would like to teach some other people how to sail, so if you would like to learn how to sail an Amel ketch, then maybe after we're done with our circumnavigation we'll know enough, and you can hit us up in the comments down below and ask if you can come aboard Aquarius when we get back to the Caribbean.
True. I'm even thinking sometimes maybe we should have somebody. I can tell you, last cruising in the north of Indian Ocean, the very, very last passages were extremely difficult, and we never motored as much as we're motoring lately. Although you would think, with years, the experience build up and everything, how to use the sails and the winds. It's hard. So I'm thinking maybe we could even have somebody navigating with us the rest of the way across. Well, anyways,
Well, there's only one more crossing to go, and that's the Atlantic.
Yeah.
But we will be maybe getting some guests in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in the Med, hit us up down below.
Yeah, we'd love to have our Patreon with us in Thailand. I think that's a nice experience to have some more.
You never know. He might be back aboard. All right. Question number
3. other places you plan or want to get back to?
Well, I think both of us have different ideas of where we'd like to get back to, and one of them I'd like to go back to is the Marquesas, because now I think we know how to sail. Before we were just dummies. We were pretty bad. But anyways, now we know a little bit more, and I think that the Marquesas would be a really nice place to get back to. Tuamotus as well.
But you probably agree the better place to come back to, and we will be back to, is Caribbean.
Yeah, the Caribbean has great sailing. The wind's second to none, and it's kind of nice going between countries, and it's only 5 hours, 10 hours, something like that.
So I would say this would be by far our number one place to come back, because that's where we were the biggest dummies. We were like...
Yeah, and that's where we started this whole adventure, and that's where we're going to finish our circumnavigation. So yes, we are going back to the Caribbean, and maybe hit up a couple of the sailing shows, the boat shows up in Florida.
Maybe even the mainland of US, that would be fun too. So that's definitely, for us, uncharted, unexplored territory besides the Med that we're gonna be going. And we are in Saudi Arabia now, and we kind of feel in a little pickle because surprisingly Egypt is more complicated than we expected, and everything around us is fairly expensive. So if you have good spots for us to suggest, please do that. Please do that.
Yeah, and hit us up in the notes below if you have places to go in the Med as well. We're going to be hitting the Med. We're possibly going to be hitting Egypt and Jordan, Israel, and possibly Lebanon.
Yeah, and Saudi Arabia, what a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, we thought Saudi Arabia was going to be bad, but it seems like Saudi Arabia is one of the better places to go.
Videos coming soon.
Okay, next question.
Have you had any sort of safety issues when in port/anchorage? Do you have a weapon or other protection on board? If so, how does that get handled when you check into a country?
So there's so many sailors out there that say so many things about weapons, and they've never carried weapons before. We're a bit different. We have carried weapons. We've had to check them in and check them out. It takes an extra 3 or 4 hours usually to check your weapons in, and then a couple hours to check them back out again. Some countries don't even care about weapons. Some countries care immensely about weapons. We did give up our weapons. I find them, not so useful anymore because they take them away when you most need them. You're going to need them when you're next to land, but you don't have them next to land. You only have them at sea. So it really takes away, the protection that you get out of having a weapon. And if you decide that you're just going to hide your weapons and keep them on board illegally, well, that doesn't help you at all, because if you do have to use them, you're going to jail. So does it really help you carrying weapons? No. There are much better things to carry. We have a laser on board that I think can deter people at sea. It's not going to deter anybody when you're at anchor close to land, because they're probably going to be on board your boat in a heartbeat. But it will maybe keep some boats at a bit of a distance from you. Do you have anything to say about that?
No, that's not my topic.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't propose carrying weapons because, most of the people coming close to you or trying to get next to you, they're not pirates. They're just fishermen trying to either get alcohol or cigarettes from you, or they're trying to trade a fish for money, or they just want to say hi. And you don't want to pull a gun on them.
Yes, but I think it's very wise and useful to have a drill. What if, there are lots of things like flashlights, sounds, noises, even, other things. What would you do if things go wrong? Again, this is something when you cruise to certain territories, it's good to discuss that people don't lose their cool and go crazy. That's handy to have.
I do believe you should put a list together of what you're going to do if this happens, and practice the list. But carrying weapons, a gun with bullets, I don't think that that's a wise idea anymore. I used to think it was wise, and we did carry weapons on board. So we're actually one of the few that will say, what really happens, because most people talk about guns, but they've never had to check them in or check them out. They've never carried weapons before. They don't know. I believe in the beginning we felt safer with weapons on board, but after we've sailed a lot, I don't think they make you any safer, really. I don't.
Next question?
Do you agree or not?
Agree.
All right, we're in agreement. All right, next question.
Can you do a video that shows what you are using for your videos? Camera, drone, underwater, etc. And what you are using to edit and produce?
So we have 3 cameras that we use mostly. It's a Sony that, you're seeing this on. We have a GoPro 10, which we found does not work with the...
Mod Pod, whatever.
Yeah, the...
Mod case
or whatever it is. But, it's pretty good. And we use your iPhone.
A lot of iPhone too, yeah.
So that's about it. That's all we use. And we have, the Zoom, which I use a bit, but that's about it. That's about
And
all
of course we
use.
have 2 drones. We have some underwater cases that are very rarely used. We have lots of gadgets like microphones, but we found them
Cumbersome.
And sometimes I think maybe it's safety issues too. Sometimes you need to pull a line very quickly or do something very quickly. You don't want to be tangled in those cords and cables. So yeah, we bought them, we brought them to the boat, never used them.
All right, next question.
You've seen pretty unfazed throughout. You obviously do a ton of planning and research to be fully prepared. But has there been anything that scared you or had you seriously worried?
Yeah, I had to change my underwear a couple times. When we were sailing from New Zealand up to Fiji, we had some weather, and we hadn't been in that type of weather before. The first time you get into actual true weather, I believe it scares anybody. There's these people out there that think they're real sailors, that nothing scares them. Oh, you don't know what big is. Yeah, maybe I don't. Maybe I never do. But, we do a lot of planning to make sure that we're in an area where we're not going to get hit by 50 knots of wind. But we did a couple weeks ago. We got hit with those winds. We didn't expect that the island of Socotra would funnel the winds the way that they did. But that's because not very many people are going through there, so there's not a lot of people that know what's going on in that area. We were some of the first ones with YouTube channels, Zatara and us, that went through there, and we just got pummeled. But that usually doesn't happen because we talk to all the sailors that have done this before. We talk to people that have been through the weather before. We try to look up YouTube channels that are sailing so that we can see what they went up against when they did it and what time of year they went. So we try to get as much information as we can. We also have OpenCPN, which shows us the history of the weather, where the hurricanes have gone through, where weather is, and we try to do as much research as possible before we take Aquarius into an area.
Absolutely, and I agree. The last passage to Socotra and also from Socotra were bad. It was really, really difficult, but we've been in 50 knots of wind before in Vanuatu, although we were going down the wind and cruising down the waves, and that was completely different experience. Our eyes were big because for us it was first time to be in this kind of wind, but it wasn't scary like it was last time.
Yeah, Fiji scared me when we were coming into Fiji. Vanuatu didn't scare me because we were going downwind. So we were just sliding down the waves. We didn't even have any sail out because, 50 knots of wind, you want to make sure your sails are good and set properly before you let them fly. Anyways, next question.
How are you choosing your destinations? Where the wind takes you, or recommendations from other sailors, or your own research? A little of each?
It's all of the above. We talk to other sailors. We, do our own research. But usually research means looking at what other sailors said about certain areas. We look at the winds, we look at the weather, we look at the currents now. That's one thing we learned crossing the Indian Ocean is currents can be huge. 4, 5, 6 knots of current. And since we only go 6 knots, we're going to be going 0 if we get in the wrong current. So, it's all of the above. We try to get as much information. And, if you want to do this, don't act like you know it all, because none of us know that much about sailing. But together, we know a lot about sailing. And that's the way I look at it. When I talk to other sailors, I don't know that much about sailing, but when I talk to 10 other sailors, I get a really good idea. And you never want to take any one thing as gospel. It's just one dot on a chart. It's one data point. So don't, just because somebody says that, oh, this is really bad or blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. It's just one data point. Talk to a lot of different people, a lot of different captains.
And for us, our choices are very limited. You're basically choosing between maximum probably 5 to 10 countries, because it's not airplane. You cannot just pop from one continent to the other. We are in Indian Ocean. The winds are going certain way. We're not gonna go against the wind, so the radius where we can go is really fairly limited. So
yeah, but one of the big decisions whether you're going to go south around South Africa or you're going to come north through the Med. The Med just opened up. The Red Sea just opened up. Pretty much, so we decided to go this direction because we wanted to get to the Med, so we're going through the Red Sea.
And now we're in a pickle.
And now we're kind of like, well, where do we go? We go to Egypt, or we go straight to Jordan, or whatever. But we're trying to get all that worked out so that we can make our videos. But Egypt might be a problem.
Yeah, and that's where we plan to spend majority of our time before Med warms up. We were thinking to spend a couple months in Egypt until we find out it's complicated and the changes are happening constantly. So yeah,
we have to wait and see. Depending on what you see in the videos coming up, that depends on where we decided to go. But it looks like we're probably going to go to Egypt, do what we plan to do, because it seems like they might be getting it worked out. All right, next question.
What from land life do you really miss as a cruiser? I always miss ice in my drinks when sailing. Somebody said that.
Somebody said we miss ice most of the time, but we got our fridge fixed in Djibouti.
Djibouti?
Yeah,
where is Djibouti?
It's between your legs and your thighs. Oh, I'm sorry. It's between your thighs and your back.
Nailed it.
That's where Djibouti is. Anyways, so what do we miss?
What do I miss? I sometimes miss vegetables. It depends where we are. Like certain places, like it used to be, I was craving for avocados and there was no avocados to be found. But in Africa, in Tanzania, that was a heaven. Other things I miss sometimes in French Polynesia, I really, really missed internet. As pathetic as it sounds, not internet to browse, but to talk with my friends and family. That was very difficult for me.
For me, I thought when we started this adventure that our friends were going to come on board, that we were going to see our friends, but we don't see our friends. Your friends don't have time. They're doing their job. They're doing all these other things, land life. So if you think your friends are going to come on board and you're going to hang out with your friends, you're wrong. It doesn't happen. And so I miss my friends.
I do too. Our friends.
Our friends. All right, next question.
What has been your single most favorite location, town / anchorage / port, not country, have you visited and why? Oh, that we have visited and why?
For me, that would be the Marquesas and the Tuamotus and some places in French Polynesia. I just thought that they were just the nicest place to cruise. And it was nice for us because I'm married to a Lithuanian, and we get to stay a lot longer in that area. But if you're an American thinking you're going to stay 6 months in French Polynesia, it might not happen unless you spend a lot of time getting the visas beforehand. So we didn't have to do that, because I'm married to a Lithuanian, which is, part of the European Union. It was a lot nicer for us, and I really enjoyed that area. What did you enjoy?
It's so hard to say. Like, literally, it's so hard. The things, Marquesas and French Polynesia was so beautiful. Absolutely picture perfect. I look at my pictures now and I cannot believe I've been there. But again, that thing that I didn't have internet and I was like really feeling distanced and kind of like isolated, that kind of dimmed the happiness for me back then. I can say that Vanuatu was something like unbelievable what we saw, volcanoes, the local authentic people, the land diving, the water diving. It was just absolutely phenomenal. And it's such a small country that so little people know about that. And Vanuatu is the island group between Fiji and Papua New Guinea. Absolutely fantastic. Then Colombia.
Colombia was nice. We only spent like 5 days there.
Yeah, maybe that's why we really crave for it, because we had such a short time there.
But we had a really good time while we were there. And Colombia is another one of those places I wish we could have stayed a bit longer.
Yeah, and so many other places. It's the hardest question, and it depends on what you see, with whom you go, what sailors you meet, your experiences in life, what's happening, and it's just a lot of things.
It's like we were talking to one sailor that's been around the world already, and we asked him, well, what's the best place? And they go, well, we hear all these people saying that this is the best beach or this is the best beach. We've seen so many nice beaches. There's so many places around this world that are the nice places, but it all comes back to the people that you're with. That's what makes the place. We were with some friends in the Marquesas, and that made it super nice for us. And look, you can find beaches, nice beaches anywhere, but if you're with a bunch of asshole sailors, you're not going to have any fun. But if you're with really cool people, I don't care where you are, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
All right.
So true.
Next question.
In the videos, it seems like the whisker poles for your ballooner are sometimes lashed to the lifelines and the other times are stored on deck. What determines where they get stored? And do you usually fly the ballooner with the poles or without?
Pretty much you have to fly the ballooner with the poles. That's a must. But if we're planning having downwind weather, the poles are going to be up whenever we make a crossing. If we think it's going to be upwind the whole time, the poles will be on deck stored and the ropes won't be hooked up to them. But if we're thinking that there's going to be downwind at all, you want those poles up in place so you can pop them out. And if it's high winds and we're going downwind, we can just use the Genoa without the ballooner. But if it looks like there's going to be low wind, then we'll put the ballooner system up and run the full-on ballooner out.
I don't think I need to add anything to that.
I don't think you can. Next question.
What one upgrade would you make to Aquarius if money were not object?
Well, I think a better question for that would be, what was the best upgrade we did? And I think we'll both agree. What was it?
Batteries.
Yeah. We have 900 amp hour at 24 volts on board this boat. And I'll tell you what, it is so nice to have that much lithium iron phosphate batteries, because we can run the AC off them. We can do anything we want off them because we have a large enough inverter. So I think getting a 3 kilowatt inverter, and I think we're going to get another one that can go parallel, and 900 amp hours of at 24 volts of batteries, I think that is the biggest difference you can make on a boat.
Absolutely. It's how much you can make water, how much electricity and food you can freeze and cook, and the ways you can cook so much. And I think the other one, if we wouldn't have, although Aquarius came with it, I think forward-looking sonar would be a huge peace of mind, especially when you buy an expensive boat.
Yeah.
I think having a forward-looking sonar would be...
I think that's huge as well. You know, we have a lot of videos on our forward-looking sonar. We use the EcoPilot. I am completely convinced that that's probably, you know, knowing what I know about the B&G system and EcoPilot, I would in a heartbeat go with the EcoPilot, because it's completely separate from your other systems. You know, you have these sailors like Delos just couple weeks ago had a problem where their B&G system went down. Everything goes down at once. What's the one thing that you do as a pilot? You learn, well, if this information doesn't match this information, then you throw this information out and then you use what you've got. But if all of your information goes down all at once, you know, you don't got anything else. And that's what I don't like about the B&G. You know, it's all set up so that they have one system, one this, you know, and if you have one small failure, you're screwed. And I don't like it. So I like the way the EcoPilot works, but that's almost a commercial.
And you will never get the sponsorship from B&G. But we are, anyways.
Look, we were talking about EcoPilot before we even contacted those guys, and you get a discount. We'll put a link below for that if you contact and order direct from EcoPilot. Anyways, we'll put a link below. Next question.
In many videos, you seem to hit the anchorages when almost no one else is there. Is this just luck, or rare the places so far flung that few others go in there? Or are you planning to be there either early or late in the season to avoid the crowds?
I don't think we actually like people in the anchorage before we get there, because, you know, we like hanging out with people. But, you know, we can't show up to any anchorage when we're sailing with Zatara empty, because Zatara always shows up first. They always are faster than us. Whether they're faster or not, they're faster.
Yeah.
But anyways, so, you know, it's been a while since we've shown up to an empty anchorage. But every once in a while, it's kind of nice showing up.
We came to Socotra when it was empty because Zatara was in a different place.
Yeah, Zatara had to go someplace else because we had a medical emergency. We were told to go someplace else, and that's where they checked us in. But other than that, you know, most of the time there's people at the anchorage.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't show it because the camera angle doesn't show everything. But most of the time when we go into an anchorage, there's somebody there. Every once in a while, there's nobody there, and makes for some great video.
Yeah, and I guess the super busy anchorages are in Med and Caribbean. Other than that, it's not the issue.
Yeah.
And we are very social. We do like to hang out, and it really wasn't a concern for us for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I don't mind anchoring next to other boats. Next question.
From the videos, it's hard to tell how long you stay in some places. Can you show us how many days you've stayed in each anchorage, marina, port? We can. We have a log.
We have a log, and we've got a video which shows engine hours, everything, and we'll put a link below so that you can actually look at that particular video. And that was halfway around the world. We show every single anchorage, the date that we sailed from place to place. So I think you could check that out and get a good idea of where we stay. But it all depends on the amount of time we get on our visas and the amount of time before the next weather window to take off. So how much time we spend in an anchorage, there's so many variables.
Yeah.
So next question.
The next question is, how do you two stay in shape on the boat?
Well, if you look at one of the videos, just not very far, it shows you working out sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, and Javila has her little workout routine, but sometimes we don't get on our workout routines. But I had a bit of a health issue, and I've lost a lot of weight.
I missed a question. It was asked, besides these early infection requiring antibiotics, have either of you gotten sick, flu, headache, on your travels and so on? So, yeah.
Yeah, we've been sick. And like in Socotra, I had to go to the emergency room. I got a ultrasound. They did a blood test. They gave me an IV because I lost a lot of blood. But that cost 25 cents.
Yes, and actually both times when we got seriously sick, in my case it was in French Polynesia, which is fairly remote in the middle of Pacific Ocean. And I got help, I didn't get the perfect help. I needed a surgery, but they came up with a different solution that worked. In Ken's case, it's even more isolated, kind of like harder to get the hospital place, but even that was handled. So, and it didn't break our bank.
Yeah, so that brings up the question of insurance, and I think most of the insurance is crap, and they usually don't pay, just like when we put
in French Polynesia, I follow up for months to get the insurance coverage, and it took months. I had to upload so many documents multiple times on a very expensive, very slow internet, and at the end, after months, they said, oh no, we won't cover that.
Yeah, because she didn't have to go to the hospital. But we were trying everything we could to keep the cost down and stay out of the hospital. They wanted to put her in the hospital, but we said no. But because we didn't go to the hospital, you get denied.
We did go to the hospital, but I didn't stay in the hospital
She
overnight.
didn't get admitted into the hospital.
Yeah.
All
Anyways.
right. Next question.
You've done 50 knots of winds and 3+ meter seas. While Aquarius might be able to handle bigger, would you, or is that your limit? That's my limit. I don't want a bigger.
Okay, I think Aquarius can handle much more.
It will.
But we're going to do everything we can to make sure we never get into that type of winds again. We'll study the winds a lot closer, study everything, talk to sailors that have been in the regions. We do not want to be in that type of weather again. But if it happens that I get into bigger winds, I'll take care of it when I have to. And I think that Aquarius can handle a lot more. A lot of talk about blue water boats. There is no such thing as a blue water boat. There is such thing as a blue water boat. You look at, if you want to talk about a blue water cat, I think Zatara has one of the best ones made to go into weather. I think Aquarius is one of the best boats to go into weather as a monohull. But there are differences. You don't want to take a hunter into the type of weather that we went through. You don't. And for those of you that do, good luck. That's all I got to say. All right, next question.
Sorry, I was just thinking, I'm about to post a video about the person who was rescued from the boat. It didn't really have to do much with a blue or whatever, but it's rough seas and it's no fun. especially watching the rescue procedure. No fun. I don't want to be there.
Yeah,
ever.
so on Friday, watch that video.
Next question, and it's the last one. You are heading north from Tanzania while many choose to go south. It seems like both directions have pluses and minuses. What were your considerations that led your destination to go north?
All right, so one is we wanted to go the road less traveled. But that's not the biggest reason why we went this direction, is because we wanted to get in the Med sooner. And I think you agree with that?
Absolutely.
So
I
we
want to
wanted-
go to Med.
We wanted to get in the Med, but there's other things that go along with that. Madagascar hadn't opened. And so because Madagascar wasn't open, we'd have to make a bigger hop down to South Africa. And it makes it less appealing to go that route if Madagascar doesn't open. So we had made the decision, because Madagascar wasn't open, that we were going to go north. And it just like went in line. It's the road less traveled. We get to see, different things than everybody else sees. If we went south, you go to South Africa, and it's about the same as going to New Zealand, I would think.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to jump into the Red Sea and go for supposedly one of the best dives. But also, I didn't know back then when we made the decision that it's going to be so difficult for me to get a South African visa. That takes at least 3 months or whatever.
Yeah. So that was a consideration too, but it really wasn't part of our consideration because we didn't even know about it until we already made our decision. Madagascar not opening, that was the big deal. And I think that...
and I was afraid of big seas south of Africa, but we got
going
them.
around the Horn of Africa is a bit tough as well.
Yeah, I don't know
So
if it's tougher or equally tough or lesser.
Depends on the day. If you wait till 10:10 going around, you're going to be motoring up, but you'll make it around that corner nice and easy. But if you look at the historical winds, you'll be able to figure out when to go to get the right wind for you and pick the right weather window. That's the biggest thing. Watch the winds, get the right weather window, and you'll be fine.
Yes.
All right. So, is that it on our questions? Is that it? All right. So, if you have a question for us, maybe once a month we'll do this type of video. Leave it in the comments below, and we'll put them all together, and we'll do these every once in a while, because I think that they're good. You get a good idea of what we're up to and what we're thinking.
Also, let us know where should we go, any good places, fairly inexpensive places, or what do you think it's a really good place to go since we are now in Red Sea, coming up north to Med. We still don't know where we're gonna winter out, so please give us suggestions. Thank you.
In the link below, or just leave it in the comments below where we should go. And make sure you check out our merch. And what else you got?
Thank you for watching.
Oh, one more thing.
If you like this video, give us a like down below and click here to subscribe. That really helps us. And if you want to watch more of us, click one of those.
They said they came from Spanish.